Hello everyone, this is Sachin again, and today we'll be discussing about a concept in CloudFront called custom origin. Usually CloudFront is used, or I have also used previously, primarily to cache the static content. Usually um, there is a concept called S3 origin where there is a S3 bucket and the CloudFront uh, behavior points to that S3 bucket and it caches the static content. But that's what we are going to discuss in this tutorial. This is primarily focusing on the caching, the dynamic content, and then dynamic content could be coming from ALB in this case. So before we understand the whole architecture, I just want to quickly show what exactly or what we are going to do here is um, take this URL. It's http://testing.thesachinshukla.com, and when I hit this here URL, there are a couple of things happens. First of all, we get a response that's coming from an EC2 instance. We're discussing the architecture, but the important thing is we see a lock icon over here, and when we see the certificate, we see that it's a valid certificate and with a green tick mark over here issued by ML. In fact, we can see the whole certificate chain over here. Anyways, let's get back to the architecture once again. So basically, as a user, you are hitting testing.thesachinshukla.com or like any URL. This communication, once it hits to the CloudFront, either you can configure CloudFront, and we'll see in the demo that you can accept request only HTTPS, or if you're if you're getting HTTP, redirect it to HTTPS. Now there is a custom origin, and the origin, it points it to the load balancer. So we come back to the CloudFront and certification for it, but before that, let's cover the left part. So this is, I am in to AP Southeast 1 region. This is Singapore region. I mean, pretty much you could be in any region. I just want any region which is not US East 1, and I'll quickly discuss why. So so it's like a typical very basic setup, and if you have ever created using console EC2 instance, you are already aware about that. In a region like Singapore in this case, you get 3 AZs, and in each AZ there is a subnet, and this is a public subnet because it is connected to the main route table, which routes the traffic to internet gateway if it is not meant for like local VPC. So that's the standard. There's no much change over here. Now let's focus on the load balancer and auto scaling groups. So if you have followed my previous tutorial, you are already aware that how you can set up the load balancer and auto scaling group to ensure the given number of EC2 instances. As it's a more, I will be focusing on the CloudFront, will be not spending too much time on this, but just to reiterate, there is a load balancer and there is an auto scaling group which ensures that one EC2 instance is always running. I just need one instance to get the response. We're not showcasing like the scaling policies or auto scaling feature as such. The focus is more on the CloudFront side. So anyway, once we have a setup over here, so typically we have a load balancer, and in my previous video, if you have already seen, you hit the load balancer URL and you get the response back. But that was an HTTP response, and focus here is primarily how you can set up the whole end-to-end process, which is like a secure connection. So for that, we need to deploy some certificates in CloudFront. We need to deploy some certificates into the load balancer. Okay, so there's one important distinction for load balancer. Whatever certificates we are installing into the load balancer, should be not, or in fact, in both of these two cases, should not be a self-signed certificate. It should be either from ACM, Amazon Certificate Manager, or it should be from any CA, which is recognized publicly. So anyways, because my ALB is in AP Southeast 1 region, and we'll see in the demo quickly, this certificate has been created into AP Southeast 1 region. However, when it comes to CloudFront, the certificate needs to be requested in US East 1 region only. This is a global service, not a regional service, CloudFront, and hence whatever certificate you installed, by default, it should be in US East 1 region. All right, so that's pretty much. Now we will see the setup in the demo very quickly. Just to summarize, a user who hits the URL for the CloudFront is configured to have Elastic Load Balancer as custom origin, which gets a response from EC2. This certificate is requested from ACM in the AP Southeast 1 region, most importantly. However, this certificate which is requested is in the US East 1 region. So now once we know the whole architecture, let's switch back to the demo. All right, as I need to create CloudFront distribution and request the certificate, it takes some time, and so I have already done it. I'll just quickly walk through that. So, but before that, let's quickly see the load balancer part. So here there is a load balancer, and it's name and DNS over here, and there is an auto scaling group, and auto scaling group uses this launch configuration, which uses one of the image where my Nginx is running. So that Nginx returns the private IP address of the instance, and this uses load balancer. This load balancer, which internally uses this target group 01. So this is the configuration. I make sure that I need one instance, so because that's the only thing is needed. So once I have the DNS name for this load balancer, I can say curl -ssx get p://. So once I hit this load balancer, the request goes to the EC2 instance, and I have only one EC2 instance running. This guy, it has this public IP address and this private IP address, and this Nginx response is set to return the private IP address, and that's what you see. 28.38 is the response. In fact, you can take this public IP, hit it, and you get this response. So basically, our load balancer is working fine. It is routing the traffic to this instance, and which is returning a private IP address. So now this is the load balancer. Let's quickly see the what certificates are installed into the load balancer. So we can go to the load balancer, choose that, go to the listener, and we see the port 443. This is the certificate installed over here, ending with 274, and that is requested using ACM, Amazon Certificate Manager. So let's see the certificate name 274. So I'm still in the Singapore region, AP Southeast 1, and this is the certificate 274. So if you see this certificate, this is for domain testing.thesachinshukla.com, and because I own the main domain thesachinshukla.com, it will ask you, basically once you create this certificate with this domain, it will be in a pending state, and it'll ask to create a record with this CNAME and with this it will ask you to create a CNAME record with this key value pair. And because if you are owning a domain, you should be able to create it. Amazon just gives a one-click button to create this record in Route 53. You can also manually create that. Either ways, once you get the record, this will be publicly queried, and Amazon uh, will query that and understand, okay, this record has been created, which means you own that domain, and which means it can issue a certificate for this domain. And after, I think, 10 or 15 minutes, I was able to see that the status went into success mode. Now, this certificate has been installed into the ELB. Now, once this certificate is over here, you can actually cur -k. -k is basically to ignore or basically to accept the HTTPS flow. So now you can say HTTPS:// sorry, and this DNS name. All right. So once you install the certificate, you should be able to cur HTTPS and not just HTTP. But still, if you hit this URL in a browser, sorry. Okay, let me hit like this. Okay, this will ask you, it won't recognize because the certificate is not for this domain, it is for testing.thesachinshukla.com. But it will still proceed, give you the response, but it will alert the user that this is not a secure one. Anyways, the point is, like, once you install the certificate in that specific region for load balancer, you can access using HTTPS. Perfect. Now let's go to the CloudFront. Okay, by the way, I'll just show you the record. So this is the record. I'll just copy and go to the Route 53. And as I said, like when you click this button, create record in Route 53, this will actually create a record in Route 53. You can see over here, this is the record name. It's a CNAME record, and this is the record value. Anyways, so this is a Route 53. Let's go back to the CloudFront configuration. So now here, we need to install a certificate, and as I said, this is a global service, CloudFront, and this certificate must be US East 1 region. It cannot be into any other region like AP Southeast 1, like in case of application load balancer. So this is my distribution. Let me add it and quickly show it to you. So price class I'm using just North America because all edge will cost a little, just a demo, so I'm using this region. Okay, if you intend to access by any other name, so when you create a CloudFront distribution, it gives its own name with some random string character .cloudfront.net. But if you intend to use own personal domain, you need to give a CNAME or alternate domain name over here. So I am giving testing.thesachinshukla.com, and because Amazon needs to validate that you own that domain, whether you use HTTP or HTTPS, you must acquire the certificate and put it over here. If you don't do that, you will not be able to use the alternate domain. So anyway, I am intending to use HTTPS over here, and that's where I have requested a certificate, and it must be in a US East 1 region. So let me quickly go to the certificate manager, but not in the Singapore region. I have already opened the North Virginia, which is US East 1. And this is the certificate I have requested. The process remains same. You click on the request button. Let me quickly show it to you also, and request public certificate. Next, put the name over here. I have given already testing.thesachinshukla.com, and you can use either of the validation, whether DNS or email. And this is recommended, and I own the domain, so I have used that and requested. And as I already said, once you request that certificate, this status will be in a pending state. Amazon will ask you to create this record into this hosted zone, and because you own the domain, you should be able to create a record over here. You just need to click this button, and this record is publicly available, Amazon will be querying it for this record. And if it finds that you have already made the entry, which means you own the domain, the status will go into a success state. All right, so now let's go back to CloudFront. So once you get the certificate, you just put it over here, and you can see the certificate ends with 386, and this is the actual certificate 386 into a US East 1 region. All right, pretty much that's it. All right, I don't think there's anything much important configuration. Oh yeah, origin. So as I said, you must define what is your origin. Usually S3 is what I have used, and primarily CloudFront is used to cache the static content from the S3 bucket, but you can also cache the dynamic content from ALB. So let me edit and show the configuration. So when you put the domain name, you must copy the DNS name, just copy it over from here and put it over here. So that becomes your backend or the origin domain. You can say HTTPS only or match viewer if you want to allow HTTP traffic and your ALB is HTTP. You can use match viewer, but that's okay. HTTPS for most of the production use case. So which is the default port 443, and that's pretty much, there's nothing great over here. And finally see the behavior over here. So for default pattern start, like for anything, this is the behavior will be used, and where we will be giving mostly caching information or redirect policies. So let me click on edit. All right, so for start, like anything in this distribution, this is the behavior. So remember, when I have entered http://testing.thesachinshukla.com, it automatically redirects to HTTPS, and that happens because this peer protocol policy is redirect HTTPS. That's pretty much the only thing I had to do, because it was giving a 502 error, and I did realize that origin request policy must be all viewer. Anyways, that's pretty much. And once you save this information, it takes 10 to 15 minutes to get this activated, and by this time, this is the distribution name you will get, which is created. But if you hit this distribution name with https:// and this guy, this will result into a 502 error. And why it happens? Because you are hitting this URL, however your certificate is for the domain testing.thesachinshukla.com. So basically you still need to reach to this distribution, but not using this URL, but using the URL for which you have acquired the certificates. So now the last piece is basically to create a record with this, create a record with testing.thesachinshukla.com, like whatever domain you have acquired a certificate, and route the traffic into this CloudFront distribution. That's pretty much. And then after that, if you hit this URL, and the whole end-to-end process works. So all right, that's pretty much. Hope you got to learn something new, and if you like the video, please like and share with your friends. Thank you.